going to show you guys how to do the iodine bleaching and pyro redevelopment. This is mentioned in a lot of texts, including the Silver Sunbeam from 1864, which is a great resource, but I've had trouble finding anybody showing how to do it online. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do it with this negative that I just took. Not the greatest, but letting it fix for now. What we're going to do is we're going to have our iodine bleaching solution. I made this yesterday. I'm hoping it still works. Basically all this is a pinch of potassium iodide, so like maybe 50 milligrams, not very much at all, and about 3 milliliters of H2O2, 3% that you can get at the drugstore, and then just a splash of white vinegar, also probably about 5 milliliters, and I just put that in an Erlenmeyer flask, and you can see there's some dust of elemental iodine at the bottom. I'll just give that a swirl before I pour it on the plate, just to get the iodine into solution. What that's going to do, it's going to react with the silver metal on the plate, convert it back into silver iodide, and then I'm going to take it out into the sun for about 30 seconds just to re-expose all that silver iodide. And then what I have here is my Pyrogallol developer. This is a recipe I got out of Borat Peterlin's comment section on his salt printing video. I believe it's 6 grams of citric acid and 4 grams of citric acid and 1 gram of pyro in 100 mils of distilled water. And of course you're going to want to store this in an airtight amber bottle like this, just because Pyrogallol does tend to oxidize over time. And so when we're ready with that, we're going to pour about 5 milliliters into our little developer shot glass. Make sure you wash this out first. And then we're going to drop in 3 to 4 drops of silver nitrate. We're going to flow the plate with that, and we're going to see the density increase a lot. Okay, it's completely fixed now. It's a very, very thin negative, pretty crappy amber type. We got some artifacts going on there, but it's good enough to demonstrate my redevelopment. So you can see the density is leaving a lot to be desired. Definitely wouldn't get a great print from this. So of course you want to fix this completely, because we're going to be re-iodizing the silver and bringing it back into the light and redeveloping. So anything you don't fix is just going to turn into a thick haze. And of course, if you're using a thiosulfate developer, which you should be for negatives, make sure you wash really well, just so you don't get any thiosulfate crystallization later on. I'm going to let that run and swirl up my iodine bleach. Let's get that nice and brown purple color. You can also use tincture of iodine from the drugstore. I think you use like 1 ounce of that and 40 ounces of water or something. I believe Borat Peterlin mentioned it in his salt printing video. I'll put the link to that in the description of this video. Okay. Ideally, you should always finish washing with distilled water. I don't have any on hand at the moment, and this will be fine. Okay. Go ahead and get our iodine bleach ready. And we're just going to flow the plate with it. Doesn't matter if you spill a little bit, it's fine. Just make sure we completely cover the plate. We're just going to slowly agitate that. And we should see a change in that silver metal to turn into like a white salt, like something you'd see in the fixer bath before it's totally fixed. This can take a while. You can see it's starting to go in these thinner areas here. Okay, I can definitely see a color change. It's probably hard to see in the camera here. Let me change the zoom. You want to make sure that that even color change occurs across the entire plate. Right now it's kind of localized to this area, so I'm just going to add a little bit more iodine over here. There we are. Okay. So now you can see it's bleached out. It looks like crap. It's just silvery gray everywhere. That's exactly what we're looking for. So now I'm just gonna wash all the iodine bleach off. as well, front and back. Okay, and now I'm just going to take this outside and just leave it in direct sunlight for about 20-30 seconds to a minute. I don't think you can really overdo it. We're just exposing all those newly created silver halides to actinic light. So just come outside and just exposing it to direct sunlight. Again, 30 seconds should be good enough. Alright, it's been about 30 to 45 seconds later. There might be a slight visual change, but nothing too dramatic yet. But now we're going to go back into the darkroom and you'll see how this is truly magical. Alright, we're back in the darkroom with our iodized and re-exposed negative. Now, this is where I would again wash with distilled water if I had any. I don't have any in hand, so I'm just trying to get as many of these water beads off as possible, just because, you know, the elements, the minerals in tap water can interact with our silver nitrate. So once we've got that dry enough, like I say, we'll just take about 5 mils. Of course, this is going to vary depending on your negative size. I'm doing 6th plate, that's a little bit smaller than 4x5. Just wash out our developer beaker real well. Make sure we get as much of that out of there as we can. Paper towel. Cool. Okay. Now, make sure you have a tray in your sink when you're doing this, because Pyrogallol is an environmental toxin, and we definitely want to collect all of that and not let it go into the septic system. So, around about 5 milliliters of our pyro developer. Okay. And close that up. We don't want excess oxygen getting in there. And pyro really stains everything, so make sure you have a cloth nearby to wipe off anything that might get on your gloves. And definitely wear gloves. This stuff is not good for you. Now we have our pyro ready here. This is just a little blue tinted bottle of silver bath. This is the same thing that I use to sensitize my plates. I just put it in a dropper bottle. And we're going to take about 3 to 4 drops of our silver bath. And we're going to add it to our pyro developer. Definitely don't misspill that. As soon as we do this, we give it one swirl just to get it mixed around, and then we have to pour the plate immediately because the silver is going to start getting reduced by the Pyrogallol in solution. So 1, 2, 3, 4 drips. Swirl it. Get our plate ready. And we're going to pour the plate. Make sure we cover the entire thing. And if we spill anything, get it into your tray. And now we just let it sit. Sometimes this will take a couple minutes, but you're going to see the density building up. You can already see it in this area here, starting to develop. Had a little trouble there. It didn't quite flow all the way to the edges of the plate. Some people might add alcohol to their pyro redeveloper as like a wetting agent. I haven't tried that yet. You can see the density is increased pretty significantly. Of course, this is no longer going to be usable as an amber type, just because the silver is too thick, and it takes on more of a gray color, which blocks more light. And as the Pyrogallol on the plate starts to oxidize, you're going to see little flakes of organic material, and you just want to keep the plate rocking to keep those from sticking onto your collodion film. We're approaching density that I like. I used a black backdrop, which is probably not ideal for a portrait like this if I'm redeveloping and printing, but building up some good density in the highlights here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it fairly soon, and I'll wash it off and we'll have a look. get that Pyrogallol off, and then stop the water so we don't create more hazardous waste than we need to. So there you go, you can see significant density. We started off with what was a really crappy amber type, and we ended up with printable negative. We do have some weird stuff going on. Probably need to wipe out my plate holder, and silver bath could probably use some maintenance, but we'll still get a recognizable picture. As you can see, you back it with the black plastic, and it's not even recognizable, but I'll take this to the negative viewer and we'll have a look there. So this is the finished and dried negative on my negative viewer. As you can see, we got a lot of density, definitely good enough for cyanotype printing. We do have some weird artifacts going on at the top, and like I said, using a dark background was probably not the best move. So I may have overshot the redevelopment slightly, but you know, this is a good proof of concept, just showing you how to use Pyrogallol Redeveloper and how you can get usable negatives from very thin amber types. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you.